Guys, Scott Hogan coming at you. We are back in the studio. Let's start talking Mevo Plus. Had a lot of questions coming up. Let's start talking about that distance and how you get that distance number. Is it accurate and what could affect it? Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Excited to be back in the studio. Been really fun to be inside air conditioning. It's been nice, but also just being able to be back in the environment, working with the Mevo Plus, a nice controlled environment. Fun to be outside with it, but again, you got so many variables out there that sometimes when you're really trying to dial stuff in, my favorite place to be is inside when you're using those launch monitors, even on some of the high-end ones. So, we're back, we're gonna do it. One of the big questions that I get, or things that people send me is when they get their Mevo Plus, they say, hey Scott, have you been noticing that the yardages are correct? And I wanted to talk about that today. For me, I've noticed them being very correct. If anything, I'll get it a little bit long because the spin number's a little bit down just because of the way the ball was caught. It didn't catch all the spin. Again, a lot of my rounds I play without the dot just for the heck of it, but and so I'll get that. But when I have the dot on, pretty spot on, to be honest with you. So I wanted to go over how we get that distance number, what's some of the things you should be looking at, see if it truly is your unit, or is it you, the player? Let's just get to the bottom of it. That way you can start diagnosing the right problem and start trying to fix it. All right, so before we get to it, make sure you click that subscribe button. Got more on-course videos outside, more inside, plus more talking about the Mevo Plus, answering some questions that have been coming in. And always, please leave us some comments down below. Send us some questions you have. Happy to go over it, seeing why I'm having a very, very good experience with my Mevo Plus. Happy to help you understand how you can do that or make any adjustments that you might need to make your experience great as well. So, without further ado, let's start talking distance. Let's head over to the simulator. All right, everybody, we're over here in the simulator. So I've got a couple warm-up shots in. We are gonna take a look at just hitting some shots. So let's go through the process of, all right, hey, is the distance correct? And I've had to do this. I know when I had my SkyTrack, that was the first, at-home unit I had where I was swinging in my garage, and I definitely thought it was short, and turns out I was just swinging terribly because of how the whole setup was. But, there was definitely a process to figure that out. Now, SkyTracker was actually a little difficult because what we're gonna talk about, you weren't able to figure this stuff out because the numbers on SkyTrack aren't actually measured. They're calculated and they're not correct. So we would look at just some of the things that would make sure that I'm the problem and not the unit's the problem. So basically that's what we're gonna figure out. The first thing is if we wanna figure out that our distances, stuff like that are correct, a lot of people come to me and say, oh, outside I've got more yardage, I hit it farther. Well, we gotta think about a couple of things as we go through that process. The first one is going to be speed. Okay, we have to look at the speeds that you are hitting the ball. I want you to take a look at that for me. So we're gonna hit a couple shots and I'm gonna actually go over, we keep charts here solely for this reason because so many people will come in saying, hey, I actually should hit the ball this far. And that comes from outside and you're like, well, I don't think so. Maybe if you bounced it a lot or something like that, but your speed doesn't showcase that. So what we've got here is we want to check the speed, and the club speed is going to be the first thing. And so I've got my swing radar down here that we use when we do our super speed stuff. So I'm going to hit a couple shots and we'll try to get a couple reads on the Mevo Plus. Now, I'm going to apologize. I have arthritis. It is super humid here in Illinois, so my arthritis is absolutely killing me. So I'm not going to be very fast today. I can already tell you that. But that doesn't matter. We're just trying to get some numbers. So, not too bad. 77 on the club speed. We're going to have to retry that. I didn't get a good read down here on the bottom. Let's see. $78, pretty consistent, and our units coming in right about 75 down here on the ground. So I actually will give it, I've been noticing this one's a little bit inconsistent of late. I think it got hit with a club by somebody, but Pretty close. Okay, so we're in the ballpark, all right? So now, the second thing I'm gonna look at is my ball speed, okay, my ball speed. Now, I felt like I hit that pretty good. You know, it felt pretty solid. Again, I'm swinging very slow for me. So we've got those two numbers. Smash factor, 1.33, that's a ratio of ball speed to club speed. That seems pretty reasonable. I'm gonna come over to my numbers here. 7-iron on the LPGA Tour, it is 1.38 for your smash. That's kind of the average for them. For the men, it's actually 1.33. So I'm right in the ballpark there, okay, as far as hitting it nice and solid. So when I see that, let's see, we got to just start looking at that speed, okay? So again, I'm at like 78 miles per hour, okay? 78 miles per hour, carry, let's see, LPGA Tour, they are at 78 miles per hour with a 6-iron. They're carrying it 152 yards. 152 yards, I'm carrying it 140. At 76 miles per hour, they are carrying it 141 yards. Okay, so that is a little short, but that's not the whole part of the puzzle. Okay, so we got to say, all right, hey, it's short. Are there some reasons that it could be short? Again, am I causing the issue? So the next thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to come over here. I will look at backspin. I'm using a, you know, it's going to vary based on what we're doing. Their backspin with a 7-iron is 6,700. Mine is 7,500, 7,600. So that's a little high, but there's a big one that I'm going to look at. I'm seeing vertical launch, 26 degrees. When I look at the ladies, again, I like to go with the ladies because it's more realistic for our speeds. It's their launch angle is 19 degrees with a 7-iron, 17 degrees with a 6-iron. So, you know, if I can launch that ball lower, will that ball go farther? Yeah, it should, right? So I should be hitting it not as high. The other thing that I have in here too is my spin axis. I'm gonna actually scroll down here. Let's scroll down. My spin axis, see how far offline to the right I am? And I'm spinning it to the right. I mean, that's a fade. Ball's gonna be short, okay? So just all of these things I would take into account. So if I'm gonna do this and I wanna get my speed, let's just see if I can square one up. Again, I'm struggling a little on the pain department, but let's see what I can do. And maybe see if I can hit one a little lower. It's a little more squared up. I didn't smash it as good, but let's see. So I'm not as far right. You can already see I'm at 150 carry. Club speed was up just a touch. Launch is still high, but if I'm at 82 club speed, you know, I should be getting closer to like 165. But again, I got to bring down that launch angle. I'm still like, I mean, I'm almost 8 degrees too high, okay? I mean, that's 8 degrees, that's a lot. What you get is this spin loft number. That ball is just spinning like crazy relative to how much it's jumping off of the face. Now, I also didn't hit it perfect. My smash is down. I did not hit it dead center. So that keeps into the play of, hey, am I gonna hit it as far? So this is a big puzzle that we try to put together. The first thing I want you to look at is, before we start going to setup, is it the machine? Is it everything? You gotta look at what you're doing with the club. Because, you know, you can adjust the machine all you want, but if you don't adjust what you're doing with the club as a player, you're not going to see it change. It's not gonna change. You're gonna constantly think it's the machine. So you have these numbers available to where you can start dialing it in. Now, the information I was giving to you, that is readily available on the internet. You can Google it, that's where I got it. Just search, you know, LPGA Tour average launch monitor numbers. Same thing with the PGA Tour, you can find that. And they update that pretty regularly. So I keep that around a lot because everybody's always like, oh, I'm hitting it so short. It's like, well, look at you, man. Like, you're saying you're gonna hit a 7-iron 170 yards like a tour player, but your numbers aren't tour. So you gotta look at what can you control as you go through. So let's go through that order again. What would I look at? First thing I'm gonna look at, club speed. and ball speed. Okay, you want to make sure you're swinging it fast enough, and then you want the ball speed that is matching it. That's going to come through in smash factor, because if you have a smash factor that's good or higher, that means you're hitting it solid. If your smash is low, you can swing really fast, but if you have a low smash, it's not going to mean anything. So, checking those numbers out first, seeing that they make sense. All right. Now, then I'm going to start going to, all right, how am I launching the ball? You can come down below, get down to your side. If you're going sideways with the ball, yes, it's going to fly shorter. If you are going too high with the ball, it's going to fly shorter. You know, even if you're going too low with the ball, let's say you're blading them, you're going to fly shorter because the ball's not in the air enough. So there is a perfect way, there is a kind of optimal way, we'll say, that you want to launch the ball to get distance. That is why this tool is so valuable, because you can start understanding what numbers. This is what Bryson DeChambeau is doing all day right now. He's just going to number town. He's saying, hey, it's a mathematical formula. I'm going to get there. And then he's doing the necessary changes body-wise to get there. You know, so he's figured out where he wants to get to. Now he's got to get there. You can do that as well. Don't try and, you know, always say, oh, it's got to be the machine. See what you can do to manipulate these numbers, because you might see that it helps your golf swing out too. So that's how I process going through the numbers, taking a look. For me, with how fast I'm swinging it right now, hitting the ball 150 yards seems pretty reasonable. When I hit this club, normally 170, but again, because of pain and all that, I'm not swinging nearly as fast as I think I should be, and I'm not hitting it on line, and I'm not being able to de-loft the club at all. Yeah, gonna be short. That's the way it goes. So, something to think about as you are on this indoor mode and what you're looking at, okay? So that's a little bit of the process I go through as we start looking at distances. So hopefully this helps you start to analyze. Again, it's possible that the unit might not be working where it's giving you the yardage you want. I'm not saying that's out of the realm of possibilities, but you want to analyze what the data, what the shots you're giving yourself are. Now, there is a possibility that you need to, you know, create some drills and see, you know, hey, I feel like I do launch it low enough. Well, there actually are some ways that you can test your launch numbers, stuff like that, and maybe we'll share with you those in some future videos. But it's just one of those things where I think you got to look at sometimes what's going on with your shots and how you're swinging it before you go and just start breaking it down and saying, oh, it's all the launch monitor, stuff like that. So again, a couple of things. When I see, a lot of people will tell me, you know, all right, hey, I'm outside, I'm playing, things are different. How am I hitting it farther out there? It's possible you are hitting the ball farther outside, okay? A couple of things that I see. One, you're outside, you got more space, you're feeling a lot freer. That's why I check the swing speed. You want to see if you are swinging at the same speed that you do outside. There is a simple formula you can do, especially with your driver, to see how far the ball should go. If you take your swing speed and multiply it by 2.75, that's going to give you a good guess. It's not the holy grail, but within like 10 yards, it's going to give you an idea of where you kind of want the ball to be. That is assuming your driver is optimal for you, your launch numbers, all that stuff is good. But, you know, for example, 100-mile-an-hour swing speed, you have to be able to roll the ball out to 275 yards. That's kind of what the thought is. Now remember, that's not carry. That is roll. So your carry on 100-mile-an-hour, you know, swing speed, that's going to be only about 240. That's what that is. You know, that's something to think about. Other things that I see people when they come in from inside, you know, they're going off of hole yardages, like, oh, I hit this drive 300 yards on this hole. It was a 400-yard hole. I had 100 yards left. Well, in reality, they might have cut a corner, or the way the hole is worked, how they measure golf holes is sometimes a little crazy. So you never really get that yardage that you're actually getting. They just want the yardage to match up on a scorecard. That happens. And then another thing I see when we're outside, you just have the elements. You have downwind, you have humidity, you have the grass if you're hitting out of the rough. If your fairways are a little fluffy, all of those things play into how far the ball goes. We're filming this video the week of the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. Super hot, super humid up there. The guys that are struggling, what they're doing, they're flying everything too far. Everything is going too far. That ball is bouncing on the green a lot, but it also is the humidity. It is so dry, it is so humid, that ball is just staying in the air forever. And they're having a hard time with it. They always are trying to calculate for that, but they're having a hard time this week figuring it out because it's so variable as they're playing. So a couple things you have to think about that you don't get. That's why I like the controlled environment inside, but you're not going to get those things happening, so it can affect your numbers, absolutely. So again, distance, easily the most talked about or question I see when people are buying any unit, not just a Mevo Plus, but SkyTrack discussions, TrackMan indoors discussions, just getting like an E6 simulator, a full swing simulator. Oh, these numbers, they just don't seem right. I've been around simulators for so long now where this has been the conversation, and we have to always talk about this. And so I wanted to share with you the process that I've seen over, again, 20 years of playing indoor golf, seeing that, hey, we can see where the distance discrepancies are. Okay, there's usually a reason for why the ball's not going that far, and not out of the possibilities that the setup needs to be tweaked. That for sure could be. We're going to have in our next video talking about those setup tweaks, so make sure you click that subscribe button. Don't miss out on it. But again, just trying to help you figure out what's going on before we start freaking out and saying, hey, this is a problem. Hopefully this will help you get to an answer faster than having to talk to support or sending a unit back or anything like that. So again, thanks everybody for watching. If you have questions, things you need answered, please post them in the comments down below. As always, give us a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe. That really does help. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.